If you're a man in your 50s or older and you're wondering if the woman living in your house is the same woman you married because she's so different, your formerly trophy wife is now like an albatross around your neck. She's always moody, she's always snapping, she doesn't want to dress up, cook, she won't cook, clean, she won't clean, tidy, she won't tidy. If she was loud before, now she's quiet. If she was quiet before, now she's loud. And access to the other room, to make matters worse, have now been denied. So what exactly is going on? And you feel like she's pushing you, like trying to push you out of the house or out of the marriage or out of the relationship. Let's talk about it. It's very likely that your wife, who is probably in her 40s or in her 50s, is going through menopause, or at least she's on her journey to menopause. And all the things that she's experiencing, even especially locking the door to the other room and throwing the key away, it's not her fault. It's all about her hormones. So what is menopause and how is it affecting your wife? Menopause is that time when a woman's ovaries starts slowing down in their production of the hormones estrogen and progesterone. To explain better, let me just say that estrogen is like the fountain of youth. It's what makes us beautiful, young, vibrant. And sometimes in our 30s, or more often than not in our 40s, estrogen begins to reduce. And that's the way we were made. That's how all of us were made. And at the end of the day, we're going to get to a stage where women will not be able to bear children anymore. And before this estrogen reduces, gets so reduced to the point where there's a very low level left, this estrogen is going to fluctuate wildly. Sometimes there'll be too much estrogen, sometimes there'll be too little estrogen, and all these things cause menopause symptoms. And these symptoms are like being angry all the time, having headaches, being dizzy, snapping, being anxious, and not one of the other important things is not going into the other room, and it is not your wife's fault. So you see, whether you go along with your wife or you go along with somebody else, whoever that somebody else at the end of the day is still going to go into menopause, and all these symptoms would occur. Now, not all women have symptoms that are so severe. Some of them have mild symptoms, and for which they are very fortunate, but for about a third of all women will go through severe symptoms. And of course, as your wife is going through these symptoms, it will be affecting you. So at the end of the day, it will sort of be like you are both going to menopause at the same time. And that's how the story is. It's like menopause is like one day, one trouble. If today is not a headache, the next day there's dizziness, the next day something is swelling, the next day her skin is itching, the next day she is anxious. So many things will continue to happen. My husband says that on the day that he can count 24 hours and there's nothing wrong with me, no complaint, that he's going to have a party, he's going to celebrate. Because one thing about menopause is that there is no normal. The new normal in menopause is that there will be no normal. It's not that bad all the time, and of course, anytime within maybe a few months to a number of years, could be as many as 10 years, those symptoms will begin to reduce. So what are the solutions? The first solution, I think, is to communicate, to talk about it. Communication is the oil of a marriage. I see marriage usually as a fabric, that is joined together, and it has no seams. There's no way to break it open or tear it apart. And menopause and other things that happen, I see them as something like a scissors that is coming towards that fabric to cut it off. And this is where the point of a stitch in time saves 9. So in order to ensure that that fabric isn't cut up and the marriage doesn't break up, it's important to sit down and talk about exactly what you're going to avoid strain. I know it's difficult. What makes men have a high drive in terms of going to the other room also is not their fault. It's all about their hormones. It's about the hormone testosterone. And a man has testosterone hormones that are usually 13 times higher than that of a woman. So of course he always wants to go to the other room and she does not want to, and so we have to find a way to find a compromise. There are other things in marriage. There's companionship, there's understanding one another. All those things also are quite important. So at this time, what I'm saying is your wife is still your wife, and after a while, if she's having these horrible symptoms, after a while everything will get better and the symptoms will be reduced, and if you have been patient, you'll be her hero, and things will, should I say, almost get back together again. But in the interim, please be gentle, please be supportive, try and prioritize her so that at the end of the day things work out well and the marriage doesn't break up. So always remember to be your sister's keeper.